Number one, the ability to make a split-second decision in the heat of the moment, regardless of how stressful that situation is, has saved my ass with dogs I don't know how many times.
All right. Welcome back to Ridgeside Canine EC Radio, another installment. We have Mike Swerchak sitting over in the right seat and myself, Greg Hunt, sitting in the left seat. I don't know. Just trying it out. Well, to them, you're in the right seat.
Oh.
That's what I was going for. Anyway, today we're going to be going into the next segue of our interviews that we're going to be doing. I'm going to go ahead and interview Mike here, asking him a few questions. We mentioned that we have an intro to the podcast episode 1. If you want to go back and see that and see how big of a difference we've came and,
I feel like our production quality has gone up.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder what episode are we on? Is this like 17
no
or
idea.
something? That's wild. So we're going to be going over just a few questions. We're going to rattle them off. We're going to get some, 30-second answers here.
And we're only a couple away from that 1 million subscribers on YouTube. So if you want to be that millionth person, you like and subscribe, we'll send you a brand new Tesla.
Absolutely. All right. So can you share a little bit about your background and how you came into the world of dogs?
Yeah. So long story short, I've kind of always had dogs. I honestly, past 8 years old, I don't remember like a single day where I haven't had a pet, multiple pets. So I've always been around dogs. What kind of got me into the training side of it is when I was a law enforcement canine guy, just dealing with the bureaucratic stuff of that. And I have problems with authority sometimes, right?
Respect my authority.
And I'm like one of those dudes like that doesn't do well with just do it because I said so. And then like I asked the question why a lot. And that got me into a lot of trouble, but I wasn't doing it to be like facetious. I was doing it like, why does this happen?
You want it to be better.
Yeah. So then I wasn't getting the outlets that I wanted from like the people that I looked up to. So then I social media podcasting, even like Stambro's podcast, Rich's podcast, like started diving down into those, and YouTube, took a bunch of online courses, and then like I was 100% hooked. Then just haven't stopped because taking all of the stuff that I did with working dogs and then transferring it into pets, like it's the same thing. Dogs learn the same way, but seeing like the chaos that the average pet owner goes through because of a lack of understanding and a lack of knowledge. Like as soon as I was able to get that fix of like, hey, Sally, I just helped you with Fido and I completely changed your life.
Yeah.
Then I was hooked from that day forward.
That's legit. I like it. What's one dog-related experience that has profoundly impacted your life or career?
Man, I think the biggest lesson that I've learned that like haunts me every day is making every moment count with your dog, because you don't know when it's going to be the last one. And this stems from my first police dog, Max. We worked, he retired, I retired from law enforcement, and then I got into contracting and I went away on a trip. And I remember getting that phone call that he died. And
was he your personal dog after retirement?
Yeah, once he tore his knee, I adopted him and like he just lived with me. And then I deployed, I got that phone call that he died and like never got to say goodbye to him.
Damn.
Got the videos of like them taking care of him, like my wife at the time took him to the vet, but like getting the videos of the police escort and stuff. So.
Oh, he got like a working dog canine like procession or what?
Yeah, they took good care of him.
That is awesome.
Even though he's retired. So seeing that on video and then getting home sucked.
Yeah, man. I hear that. I hear that genuinely.
All right, next one.
Good?
We're good.
All right. What are the most common misconceptions you encounter about dog training, and how do you address them?
I'm going to steal a plug from Aaron Taylor. The more you talk, the more you confuse. The less you talk, the more you communicate.
Yeah.
It sounds very simple, but the average pet owner doesn't understand how much they talk to their dog and get frustrated that their dog doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
And if they just clean that up and keep it consistent, like even with the simple recall command, like if you just keep it the word come and you stay consistent, you'll change your whole life.
Yeah.
And you just hold the dog accountable rather than like, come here, come on,
Fido,
let's go.
Fido, what are you doing?
Do you want to go for a ride? Do you want
Yeah.
cheese? Like they start negotiating and doing all this stuff and you're just confusing the dog
Yeah.
because the dog has no idea what you're saying.
I love it. I love it. Can you walk us through your approach to solving a challenging behavioral issue with a dog?
Yeah. Number one, it's individualized, right? So you got to look at the dog in front of you. And I'll touch on aggression because I've worked with a lot of aggressive dogs. But I have to figure out why is the dog being aggressive. And to me, in my humble opinion, there's really only two reasons that dog is being aggressive. Two general categories, whether it's fear-based or it's an asshole. So then I figure out which one that is. If the dog's just forward and being an asshole, that's actually easier to fix. And to me, they're less dangerous dogs because they're doing it just to get what they want.
Yeah.
Right? So with them, you just build a relationship, correct the unwanted behavior, set some boundaries, and 99% of the time, unless it's like, the dog's got some neurological issues or like medical reasons, then you can fix those dogs very easily. If it's a fearful dog, and it's just like learn to go 110% when it gets startled and like doesn't stop, to me, those are way more dangerous because that dog is fighting you with like it's life or death to that dog.
Yeah.
Right. So then I have to figure out, number one, try and build a relationship with that dog, then figure out what is making that dog nervous, stressful, and then trying to counter condition that dog. And then the hard part comes from, because like doing it so long, it's very natural. I don't think about what I'm doing.
Like second nature.
Yeah. So I'm just like going with the flow, but then relaying all that information to the owners and clients and stuff can be difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of problem solving goes into it.
Yep. And trial and error. Sometimes you come up with a great plan and you're like, shit, that didn't work. Let me try something else.
Yeah. I know for you, your law enforcement has affected there's been a lot of changes from you training in law enforcement to pet dogs. How do you believe your experiences in law enforcement have influenced your dog training methods?
I think, number one, the ability to make a split-second decision in the heat of the moment, regardless of how stressful that situation is, has saved my ass with dogs I don't know how many times.
Keeping emotion out of it.
Yeah, keeping emotion out of it. And like even when like you are getting attacked, like because I've done so much training and been in so many violent encounters with humans, like I don't go red or like I don't get all of that like tunnel vision and auditory exclusion. Like I'm able to think and process that stuff and just kind of work through it like emotionless and like just on the ball about it. And then I think, what's helped me out from the educational standpoint of that is when dealing with the clients is like the ability to go into anybody's house and just talk, right? Whether it's you're a victim of a crime or like you're having your worst day, like being able to change my behavior to like counterbalance your behavior and just trying to work through that.
A little bit of psychology.
Yeah. Tons of it.
Yeah.
This is a funny story just popped in my head. I remember one of the most like karma filled things in my police career. This is not like bad scenario, but I remember I blew up on Facebook for a little bit because somebody made a post of me driving at like 3:00 in the afternoon during a summer rainstorm, and I didn't have my headlights on.
Oh, you are the guy that I hate.
Yeah, but in my defense, like I had.
Was it like an old '80s truck that didn't have auto headlights?
Yeah, well, it was a Tahoe, brand new at the time, so it had auto headlights. But I clean the inside, and I
Oh, you
accidentally
hit 'em
flipped it.
off.
So I just
Okay.
assumed that the
Okay,
headlights
okay.
were on. So this lady took a picture of it, posted it on like social media, and it was like blowing up, right? People were texting me like, "Hey, your shit's all over Facebook," and I'm like, huh, "No big deal." Like,
Was it your squad car Tahoe?
yeah,
you
yeah,
mean? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So it's a
okay,
Mark
okay.
Cruiser. I'm
Yeah.
like breaking the law as a cop, right? Hold police accountable. I didn't know my headlights were on, right?
Yeah.
Nighttime falls,
Mm-hmm.
and same lady calls because she got robbed. Who was the first person that showed up?
No way.
Yeah, it was great. And I'm like, hey.
You should have turned your headlights off when you pulled up to her house.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know why that popped in my head, but it was a funny story.
That's funny. All right, so dogs teach us a lot about life. Can you share a personal story where a dog taught you something unexpected or valuable?
Well, I won't rehash the make every moment count with your dog. In the working dog space, like a story that always sticks out when I was going through canine school was like, always trust your dog, right? If you have a well-trained dog and you believe him, trust him. So I remember one night I was searching this car with my dog. He hid on the outside. Everybody was putting handcuffs, and like he was a drug dog. So we believed that there were drugs in the car. Dog told me so. I believed him.
Yeah.
Put the dog in the car to kind of pinpoint where it was so I didn't have to tear this whole car apart looking for it. And he dives over into the passenger seat and like is ear deep in a bag of Doritos. So like I correct him on the e-collar, kind of redirect him on a search. And then he dives back into the bag of Doritos. And I'm like, at this point, my gasket blows.
Yeah.
Because like we've done so much training to make sure he doesn't mess with food while he's searching it. And I'm like, he's just being an asshole.
Yeah.
I rip him out of the car, put him in the car. I'm like, dude, my dog's being an asshole. So then I had to kind of, in not the proper state of mind, I went and dumped out the bag of Doritos in the car, and there was a pound of weed in it. I'm like,
Oh, shit.
son, I'm so sorry. So I went back, apologized to him. Yeah.
To your dog or to the criminals?
To the dog.
Oh, okay.
At that point, I got your weed. I don't care about your car.
Yeah, so if you're a bad guy out there, don't be going hiding your stuff in Doritos. They're going to find it.
Yeah, there's a really good drug dog. It's very hard to hide stuff from them.
Yeah.
Cartels have gotten really good at it because they have like different phases of packaging, and they'll run drug dogs around their stuff in all of those phases. And if the dogs hit on it, they'll repackage it, like kind of like quality control shit.
Jesus Christ.
But now when you pair that with technology and stuff,
Yeah,
it's hard to do.
that makes sense.
Now they just walk across the border and they're like, hey, I got 12 pounds of fentanyl. And we're like, oh, good.
Okay, here's a gun.
Welcome to America. Here's a credit card and a new cell phone.
Starting and running a successful business comes with its set of challenges. Can you share a significant obstacle you've overcome in building your company?
I'm still trying to learn how to do it. But to me, the hardest part is managing people. You have multiple people that work for you. And, you know, with us, it's a little bit different because we're not like all in an office, see each other every single day, and you just kind of develop those natural relationships, right? We're all kind of spaced out. We see each other frequently, but trying to manage the different personalities of everybody and making sure the culture in the team stays good. And then also, like, everybody is younger than me and doesn't have the life experiences that I've had, or like, you know, George, another trainer in the military, you in the military, like we understand that style of communication. And between my law enforcement and contracting stuff, like that's the communication I've lived with for most of my adult life.
Right.
So like, that's my go-to. It's like, hey, dipshit, you did this wrong. And then people get mad when I talk to them like that. And I'm not saying it to be disrespectful. I'm just like, get a point across. And when I need to get a point across, it's the shortest, most effective communication possible to get that point across. Yeah. Where I'm learning now, sometimes you have to sugarcoat things or think about what you're going to say.
Yeah.
So
break them down a little differently. I get that.
Managing people is tough.
Yeah, it is. What advice would you give to someone looking to enter the dog training industry or start their own business in this field?
If you're doing it because you don't like people and you just want to work with dogs all day long, go work at a shelter and be unsuccessful as a business person, because no shelter is going to pay you a lot of money to just go walk dogs, right? If that's your passion, go do it. Love it. But if you're getting into dog training because you don't want to deal with people and you want to have a pet training business, you have the wrong intentions going into it 100%.
I like that.
On the other end of that, if you're going into the dog training business for 100% money, you're also doing it for the wrong reasons, right? So your primary goal, if you're going to start a pet training business, is to help people. Has nothing to do with dogs.
Right.
They're just kind of like a byproduct of it in a way. You're doing it to help people fix their relationships with their dogs.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you have to have good people skills. And if you don't, you're not going to be successful.
Yeah, 100%. Those are really, really good points on those.
That's why I'm the boss, man.
Your boss.
Ricky Rose.
How do you stay innovative and keep your training methods and business models fresh in a constantly evolving industry?
It sounds cliche, but I'm always a student.
Yep.
Like it never stops. And I get, obviously with social media, that's always evolving, but then I'll take stuff that I see from there, go down rabbit holes, take online courses, or even if I see some dumb post and it like catches my attention, I'm like, why did that catch my attention?
Breaking it down.
And then I try to like recreate it or see how I can implement it that way.
Yeah.
So it's just, you got to learn all assets, and you can't be stagnant in anything that you do, because that'll get you killed. Or you can't just assume because 20 years ago I ran an ad in a newspaper and I got clients from that, like I'm going to do that today. Like I can't even name a newspaper. So social media is a major game changer. Learning how to do that as effective is a major game changer, and it constantly evolves. So you always got to study and learn.
I like it. Phone locked. All right. What were we saying? All right. How do you see your role in the broader community beyond just dog training? I guess this was more of a trainer base, but how do you see your role in a broader community from here? Where do you go?
From like the business side of it, I've really gotten on this kick of supporting small businesses in a sense. Like all of the stuff that happened in like 2021, 22, and like seeing how the world has changed, like it's becoming more apparent than ever. Like from the community level, we all have to take care of each other.
Yeah.
So like trying to build those relationships with small business owners, like not go to like big chains. Like I'm not going to go to Starbucks to buy coffee, right? Number one, their coffee sucks. But number two, like we have local coffee shops all the time or all over the place. So I'll go to them, like talk to them about their story. Why'd you do this? How'd you get this started? Mom and pop restaurants, right? Like try to go to those and support them, take care of people inside the community.
I would say like that networking, like you going to Starbucks, not that anything wrong with like the employees there, but like the people that work at Starbucks, it's not networking opportunities. Like the manager who works at Starbucks isn't working on his own small business. The manager, she owns her, own personal coffee shop. She's doing what you're doing. Y'all can network, talk to each other. She might even become a client. Like, you're her customer.
Yeah.
She might turn around and become your client. Whereas like through conversation, that's not really going to happen when you pick up your latte from Starbucks.
Yep.
Like there's more opportunities within small business to small business communication.
And you get like the inspiration behind it,
Yeah.
right?
Like what's your story? How have you
a barista at
overcame
Starbucks
adversity?
gives zero fucks about like Starbucks being successful as an organization, whereas like a waitress or a manager of a mom and pop store, like maybe that's my oldest daughter now running the store. She's heavily invested because like this is their family's dream and it's all relying on one another. So those are the stories that I like. But even then, like you got to keep community resources close, because if shit ever hits the fan, like these are all the people that I'm going to have to work with on the back end of that. So
yeah, for sure. What What's the future look like for Ridgeside Canine Eastern Carolina? Are there exciting projects or expansions on the horizon?
Global domination.
So would it be Ridgeside Canine
Global.
Eastern Global?
Global. Just RSK9 Global. Yeah.
I like it.
No, in the next 6 months, I'll be opening up 370 new branches in 80 different countries. No, man, the key is just to help as many people as we want or can. Constantly make ourselves better. Like I've been working on a bunch of video content for clients specifically. Got some other projects in the pipeline that I think are going to work out. Hopefully, time, effort, motivation behind it, but a lot of stuff brewing.
Yeah. What outside of dog training and business, what are your passions or hobbies that might surprise people?
I do like art. Like I'm very artistic based. I used to draw and like paint and stuff all the time. So I'm fascinated with art. But the thing that I do religiously, like I don't draw and stuff anymore. I wish I could. I just don't have time. Or it's not something that I'm willing to invest time in. But I still shoot all the time, like guns.
Yeah.
Spending a life doing that professionally, like that's my happy space when I can just like, that's the only time I can go and like 100% decompress, like put on some muffs and just throw lead at targets for, work on skills that I'm working on. Like I'm only in that moment at that point because you have to be safe and all that kind of stuff. So it's a nice little decompression thing for me, both therapeutic and the world ends like
good skills to have.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah. What if you can go back and give your younger self a piece of advice, what would it be?
I think the biggest thing would be this too shall pass, right? I love that quote because if you look into it, like it keeps you humble. So if you have a really big positive event in your life, fantastic. That's awesome for you, but it's going to pass.
Yeah.
If you have the worst of the worst day of your life, it's still going to pass. So like keep yourself on a baseline. Don't overinvest in the good or the bad because it's all going to balance out and come back to the center.
The sun's going to set today and it's going to rise tomorrow.
Yeah.
Last one. This was, I think, a really good one to end on for you, especially for our listeners who feel overwhelmed by the challenges of training their dogs or growing their own businesses. What words of encouragement can you offer?
It would depend on why they're frustrated.
Yeah.
But it kind of all leads back to suck it up, right? Like none of entrepreneurial stuff, running a business, none of it is easy. And you can easily get persuaded to think it's easy with all of the BS that you see online. But it's not, right? And it's not like you have to grind 24/7. It's not like I'm doing like Adderall and Rip-Its at 11 o'clock at night trying to stay up, like college students do to like cram for an exam. But it is, for me, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I don't stop.
I would say it only gets easier the harder you work. Like the harder you work, the easier it will become, or the more laid back approach you take to it, the fucking harder it's going to be.
Yeah. I think Pitbull, I don't know if he made this up or whatever, but I saw him giving a TED talk. And he said, it's ironic. The harder I work, the luckier I get.
Yeah.
So
that's valid.
And then you just say it in like the Miami Cuban style or wherever Pitbull's from. He says it way better than me. And he's wearing like a $10,000 suit. So looks better than a guy just wearing hoodies and a jogger.
What kind of hoodie is that? Is that a Ridgeside Canine hoodie?
Ridgeside Canine. It's an OG one.
Yeah, it is.
It's an OG logo.
All right. Well,
it's 101. You can't get these anywhere else.
No.
We'll put it on auction. So if you made it to the end of this episode and you want a sweatshirt and you wear a 2X, I'll send you one. Not this one because I love it.
All right. Well, if you're looking for me on social, it's rsk9nc.greg. and Artist Canine Training Supplies for the store. And then everyone can find you where at?
For training, Ridgeside K9 Eastern Carolina on Instagram and Facebook. And then my personal stuff at Mike_Swarchek. It's a little more unfiltered.
Hell yeah.
It's verified though. So I pay that $15 a month.
All right.
We'll see you
Later.